the chair of St. Peter. It's a great day for the Catholic Church. It's always nice to know that we have a Holy Father, and just the office of the Petrine office keeps us connected to Christ at all times, no matter who the Pope is. And it's a great thing to be Catholic. Great day. It was great that they say the Glory at Mass today. So although it's still Lent, it gives a little bright spot. Okay, so today we're going to talk about student success and support services. My name is Tom McFadden. Many of you have met with me before, heard from me before. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment and Student Success. And I'm going to give you this overview just to give you some insights into what you can expect once you're here at Christendom, to make sure you know it's here. So the first thing I want to do is the main group of people who are actually who care about you, who are running the show, running Christendom College, that you may or may not know about. It's called the Executive Council. So the Executive Council is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people currently. And these people, we meet on a regular basis. We just met today. We meet every Thursday. We meet a couple other times throughout the week as well. And we talk about everything that's going on at the college to make sure we're on track, make sure if there's any problems that everyone is in the loop. And it's a very good thing. We haven't always done that, but in recent years we've done it, and it's actually benefited our students, it's benefited the college, because it's benefited us to know more what's going on with all the different departments. Sometimes in the college, there's all different departments, and everyone's sort of doing their own thing, and people are out of the loop. So this is a way for us to stay together. And the reason it's important for you as a student or family member looking at Christendom and coming to Christendom is you should know that there are people in charge of all aspects of the college. It's not just one person. It's not one-stop shopping. There are different people in charge of different aspects, and each of us that work in our position are very loyal to our position. We love Christendom College. We want to do all we can to help our students out. We don't always, we get caught stuck in the weeds sometimes thinking about our problems, but ultimately we're always here to serve you, the students, and to serve our mission, which is to restore all things in Christ. So we're going to go over a couple, some of these people you may remember, you may know about, you may not ever run into when you're a student, but I just want to go over it. So Dr. Timothy O'Donnell, this is the last year he's going to be president. So he's retiring at the end of this year, but he will be around all the time. He'll be president emeritus. He'll also be a theology and a history teacher while here, and he'll be leading pilgrimages to Rome and running the St. Columcille Institute, which is a 3-week summer program in Ireland. So he'll be around. You'll see him a lot, but he's been here 32 years. We have not been told who our next president is. It's in a process of being, I believe it's in the process of being offered to somebody, and that person has to then say yes. So we're all on pins and needles wondering who our next president's going to be, but our board of directors is in charge of picking the president, and many of us were involved in the interview process, and we're very hopeful that it'll be someone who understands Christendom, who has the same idea and mission and vision that Dr. O'Donnell has, that Dr. Carroll has, and will help us move forward. So I'm pretty confident that will be the case. So anyway, we will know who that is soon enough. Dr. Greg Townsend, he's in charge of the whole entire academic program at Christendom. So anything to do with the academics, he's the guy to go to. Now, again, this is also his last year as the Vice President of Academic Affairs. He's been here at Christendom for about 22 years. He's been Vice President of Academics for, I think, since 2014, so almost 10 years. He will still be here. He will be working in the Math and Science Department. He'll still teach, but Dr. Kevin Tracy, who's our current academic dean, will be moving into the position of Vice President of Academic Affairs. So we're all excited about that. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great transition. And Dr. Tracy's been here for a long time too. So it's not going to be too traumatic. Mr. Paul Jalowiec, he's a graduate of the college from class of 2003. He runs advancement. Now you might be saying, what's advancement? Advancement is fundraising. So Christendom needs to raise between $6 and $9 million a year to just exist, to be able to pay the bills. Faculty and staff get paid, lights get paid, buildings have to heat and air conditioning, food to be paid for. Students pay for room and board and tuition, of course, but all their money goes to it. It doesn't pay for the full thing. So we need to have donors donate $6 to $9 million a year. And then if we actually want to build anything, like build a nice chapel, build another dorm, that's on top of that. And Mr. Jalowiec and his team, a very large team, is in charge of raising money. So you'll see him and his team around, but we do work in Regina Caeli building. So he's in charge of that. Dr. Amanda Graff, she's actually, up to this point, you guys have sort of been looking at the admissions office. We've been your funnel. Mr. Phillips and Ben Marsh and Basha and Catherine and Aaron have been your mouthpieces to Christendom, and any questions you've had have gone to them. Once you become a student at Christendom, Miss Graff, Dr. Graff now, is the vice president of student affairs, and she and her team becomes sort of your new person that you talk to all the time there, because when you come to Christendom, your life, where you live, your dorm life, your experiences, your discipline, your happiness, your spiritual life, your athletic life, all this stuff is called student life, and she's in charge of that. She's also currently the acting vice president for executive vice president, meaning we used to have someone who was the executive vice president under Dr. O'Donnell, and he recently resigned in January to go on to another job. She has now stepped into that role while maintaining her role, and she's only doing for the semester. We don't know who's going to be the next full-time executive vice president next year, so there may be somebody new doing it next year. Maybe it'll be her, we're not sure, but for right now, she's the acting. But she's going to be all parents and students will know her because she's sort of the main contact for parents and students once a student is enrolled. Scotty K, he is in charge of finance. He is not a graduate of college. Again, neither Dr. Graff is not a graduate of Christendom either. Scotty K is a graduate of Franciscan University, Steubenville. It's hard for me to say that. Anyway, he married a Christendom alumna, Margaret, who used to work in the admissions office. So that's what gets him allowed to come back to the team and be on the team. He's great. He's in charge of financial aid, in charge of payroll, in charge of helping student jobs. He's in charge of loan program. He's in charge of a lot of things that are important for billing and for parents and for students here as well. Dr. Mataba, he is also not a graduate of the college, but he runs our graduate school. We have a graduate school, Master of Arts in Theological Studies. That is, it's right on our campus in a house called St. Martha's across the street by the soccer fields. So he runs our graduate school. His daughter, Abby, is a freshman this year here at Christendom. Then there's me, I'm Tom McFadden. Again, I'm a vice president of enrollment and student success. I've been here 23 years. I am a graduate of the college from 1990. And I oversee admissions, I oversee career development, I oversee student success. That's why I'm giving this talk today. And student satisfaction and a number of other things. So every student, every parent knows who I am. I teach every student. I'm very involved. I'm at lunch every day. I'm at mass every day. Every student knows who I am. There's no possibility of them not knowing me. And so I'm a very good resource generally for students. I give out my cell phone number. When students lose something, they find something, they contact me. I let the whole student body know about it. So I'm a very active person that a lot of students reach out to me and say, I don't know who I'm supposed to talk to. Let me go talk to McFadden and maybe he'll be able to help me out. So I understand that's my role. Same thing for parents. I'm sort of like a parent liaison as well, frequently for parents. If you want to contact me and talk about whatever, we'll get to the bottom of it. Mr. Mike Fackler, he is a 1986 graduate of Christendom College. He oversees probably the hardest job of all of it is the buildings, the food, the transportation, special events, graduation, homecoming, building supplies, beds, cleaning of all the buildings, again, all the food services. He's in charge of a lot of things, all the building operations. He was in charge of building the chapel, anything we're doing. So he's sort of behind the scenes. You don't see him that often, but he's on campus. He's been here for, gosh, probably 25, 26 years, and he's a great guy who gets things done. And then Mr. Niall O'Donnell, he's Dr. Tim O'Donnell's oldest son, second oldest child. He's been working here since about 2005, I believe, maybe 2004, in marketing. So he's in charge of our website, of publications, programs online, online principles, academic programs online, anything that's online, any advertisements, any marketing materials, publications, photography, websites, anything to do with that, anything with marketing, news stories. He's in our Facebook page, all of our Instagrams, all that stuff. So he and his team are in charge of that. So the reason I bring this up is these are all the people who are in charge. Each of us is in charge of everything that goes on at the college. And so one of us, if there's something going wrong or something you need or you want to figure out the answer to, one of us knows the answer because one of us is in charge. We might not know it's happening. We might not maybe investigate it to see what's going on, but we are the people that are in charge. We meet every once a week and talk about things. Every 3 weeks, we get together and talk about bigger things. So we have a pretty good team of people to figure things out. So if you have a suggestion, today at a meeting, I brought a suggestion that a girl brought to me the other day, and she's like, can you figure out the answer? I brought it to this team. I think we have a good answer. We're going to talk about it some more and then get back to the girl and the rest of the students. Say, yeah, we heard your cries. We have an answer. We think this is a good solution. So we want to do what we can for the students, as long as it's not contrary to our mission, of course. So there you go. We're the Executive Council, the administration. So today, we're going to talk about all the support services, stuff that aren't necessarily academic. You come here, it's a college, you're learning stuff, it's the academic program. We're not really going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all the things outside of that you might need help with, just being a human being on campus away from your parents. So there's going to be some academic support, help, tutoring, writing centers, things like that. There's our health problem, everything from nursing things. Is there a hospital around? What do you do when you're sick? Social services to help you get along. There are clubs, activities. What do we do? Spiritual life. Obviously, we have our chaplaincy that help with that, but there's other things. Residential services. I'm not really happy in my room. My bed has a hole in it. I need a new thing. What do I do? Career development, that's something that maybe you might not think about as a student, but you certainly, as you move through it, you're going to say, well, I need to get out of here. I need to be prepared to land on my feet and get a decent job or vocation or whatever it is you're trying to do. And then just general. So this is, it's not a lot to it, but this is what we're going to talk about today. Again, if you have questions along the way, put them in the chat box if you like. I'll answer them at the end. If you don't have any questions, that's fine. If you have questions later, I'll give my cell phone. You can call me, email me, text me, whatever you want to do. So take it, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. So first thing, academic support. So as I mentioned before, Dr. Townsend, he's the Vice President of Academic Affairs for the time being. He oversees all the stuff, everything to do with academic life. Academic dean, academic department chairs, the academic bulletin, the academic calendar, the class registration process, the registrar who's in charge of putting you into classes and changing your classes. He manages what's called the Education for a Lifetime career courses. Those are career development courses that actually I teach, so he manages me in that role. So anything to do with the academic life, he's in charge of it. I mean, he lets his department chairs make some decisions, and there's different things in there. So he's not a hard man ruler of this is the way it is, but he's the guy to go to if there's ever really a main problem that you need to sort of figure out who do I talk to about academics. He's the guy. He's about graduation and whether you can graduate. He runs the graduation ceremony practice. He's the one that reads out your name when it comes time for the day you graduate. Although, again, by the time you graduate, it'll be Dr. Tracy. But anyway, they're involved. Anything to do with the whole academic life, he's in charge of it. Academic dean, this is Dr. Tracy. So again, Dr. Tracy is going to move into Dr. Townsend's position at the end of this school year. So when you're a student, Dr. Tracy will be the academic vice president, and he'll do all those things. And a guy named Dr. Whitmore will be the new academic dean. So what does the academic dean do? They oversee all the academic problems. So if someone's having incompletes, they're having a medical withdrawal, they're having just missing too many classes, that maybe they're failing out, or maybe they do fail out and they want to come back to Christendom. He deals with any kind of abnormalities in the academic program, any problems. He manages, if you have any transfer credits, maybe you've taken a 3-credit math course or science course or language course at some community college. You want to know, hey, how does that transfer to Christendom? He's the guy that's going to make the decision. Here's how it works. Here's how it goes in your transcript. Here's how everything you need to know about that. He works with our academic support services team. So I'm going to talk about that next. But the academic support services team, they actually work for me. But they do work in conjunction with the academic dean and the academic people, because obviously it's about academic support. We'll talk more about what they offer here in 2 seconds. He communicates with faculty as needed. So say there's a death in your family, unfortunately, and you have to go home for 2 days. You could just contact Dr. Tracy, or again, in your case, it's going to be Dr. Whitmore, and say, Dr. Whitmore, I have to leave, I have to miss classes. Can you please indicate to my teachers that I'm going to be gone for 2 days, and then I apologize, and that, to let them know I'm not just messing around and skipping class for no reason, but I'm actually going home because of death. He's able to do that. He can communicate to faculty if you talk to him and, maybe you're having some issues, and he can talk to the faculty and say, hey, here's what I know. I talked to the person, and he's sort of your go-between between you and the faculty. If you need it, you can go directly to faculty, of course, anytime. They're your teachers, they're your mentors. You'll build great bond with your faculty. But if there's something bigger you'd rather just talk to him about, you can do that. So academics, and then as I said, students can meet with faculty one-on-one. So anytime you want, you can see them walking over to mass, or coming out of class, or during class, or in office hours, or anytime you can talk with them one-on-one or by email. So academic support, I put myself up here again because I'm in charge, Vice President for Student Success. And what that means is I manage the Director of Academic Success and the Accommodation Specialist. So what does that mean? And also I have the great privilege of contacting freshman parents during the year, both in midterms, both for fall midterm time and spring midterm time, and saying, dear parents, Johnny's not doing so well in all of his classes. He has deficiencies in a couple of them. He has a C in this class, and a D in this class. please be advised there are, he could fail out. So please contact, have Johnny contact his teachers, the academic support coach, do something about it. So I'm the guy that calls you or emails you and says, here's the story, here's what you should do if you want to succeed, and give you advice. You can do it. You don't have to do anything. You could say, I don't care. I don't need your advice. I'm going to do my own thing. That's on you. But we try to keep you in the loop, particularly parents. And the students are informed by the director's students' academic success, what the story is. So some students come here and they have academic accommodations. So maybe they have some learning deficiency. Maybe they need to have extra time on a test. Maybe they need to take a test and, sort of by themselves. Maybe they need to use a laptop to take notes. There's different things, and everyone has their own thing. Sometimes people just have an academic accommodation. Maybe there's dyslexia. But it all has to be documented and by a professional, by a healthcare provider, who will then send a letter to us, and you'll work with our Director of Academic Success, Kaylin Damitz. Here she is. Kaylin is in charge of looking over all academic accommodation requests and saying, well, here's what we can meet, here's what we can't meet. And then she relates whatever can be met. She tells the various faculty saying, okay, by the way, here are the academic accommodations that are allowable for the student X, Y, and Z. And then she sort of manages people in that situation for the entire 4 years they're here, utilizing the academic accommodation specialist to do that as well. So right now we have a student intern serving in that role. We don't have a full-time person in that role. We have a transition this coming year where Kaylin moved from one position to her current position, and we're trying to fill her role position. Anyway, next year we'll have somebody who's a full-time academic accommodation specialist, and then Kaylin will be in her second year as the Director of Academic Success, and it'll be wonderful for anyone who needs help. So what does she do? She oversees all the academic accommodation requests, as I just mentioned. Again, they have to be, can't just be, well, I think I have this problem, or someone told me when I was in second grade I had this problem. It has to be a problem that is actually acknowledged by a professional and sent in by a letter saying, here's what we recommend are the accommodations. And we look at the accommodation requests and we see if we can meet them. We can't meet every request, I'll be honest, but we can meet most of them. And then we tell you, well, here's what we can meet. And then we lay out a plan. And if you're agreeable with that, then I guess you come to Christendom and we work through it. If it's sort of like, no, I can't do it, I need more, I need something you guys can't provide, well, you're gonna have to make the decision as to whether you want to continue on with Christendom or not. So, but that'll all be figured out before you get here, hopefully. She works individually with students to help them to achieve success. So these are any student at all. Her office is in the library. Students can make appointments. Students can just walk in and say, hey, Kaylin, are you available? I need to talk about the philosophy test that's upcoming. I'm kind of scared. Can you help me figure out how to study for it the best way I can? She can do that. She helps students if students are actually failing out or on academic warning or probation, she actually meets with them once a week to make sure they're on schedule. We don't want any student to fail out, but students do fail out. And any student that fails out, I'm going to be honest with you, they chose to fail out because we put out all the nets, put all the lifelines, and we say, hey, kid, you're having issues. We want to help you. Please let us help you. And the kid either says, yes, please, I want the help. I'm drowning. Please put the buoy around me, drag me back to the boat. Or they say, yeah, I don't need your help. I'm going to do my own thing. If they do that and they fail out, they knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. And it's a sad situation, but that does happen. I would not recommend you do that. I would recommend you, if we come to you and say, we'd like to offer you our help, we recommend you do that. And most people do, just to let you know, it is always your choice. Sorry, wrong way. She collaborates with the faculty to assist with the writing center. We have a writing center on campus, which is normally most weekdays, Monday through Friday from I think it's from 6 p.m. to midnight, where you can bring your papers to a student. It's a student that works at an upper level student who's very good at writing and hired by the English department. And you can bring your paper to that person and say, hey, can you check over my paper for, what grammatical problems or, whether it's been formatted properly. They can't give you any, rewrite it for you, or you need to do your own thing, but they're there to help you with any kind of technical difficulties. We have tutoring services in Latin and Greek, I believe, and then sometimes we have it in calculus if you're doing calculus. And so those tutoring, they're free. The hours are posted each semester, and you can sign up to go for tutoring if you need that. Exam proctoring for certain students who have accommodations, who need to take an exam outside of the crowded classroom. If they need to take an exam by themselves, we can proctor that. And then we have student mentors. This is a cool program. So say you're taking English 101, you're having struggles, you're taking it with, say, Dr. Marciano, one of our teachers here, and you're sort of struggling and you just need some help. Well, you can go to Kaylin Damitz and say, Kaylin, I'm having a problem with English 101. And she'll say, okay, you're in Dr. Marciano's class. She will look through a list of upperclassmen who had Dr. Marciano for English 101, and who's a student mentor, and then she will assign that student mentor to you and say, hey, here's your sort of big brother, big sister. You should connect with this person. This person had this class. They did well. They succeeded. They know all about this. They know how to master this program. So you should connect with that and make that happen. By the way, so I said this tutors, it's free for you, but the tutors are actually paid, as are the Writing Center folks. So they're paid by the college. We hire them. Not everyone can do it. If they get hired by the language departments to do this. The Writing Center people are hired and paid by the English department. The exam proctoring by any students or the student mentors, it's actually a volunteer position, and those are students that are just interested to help out their fellow man. It's a nice thing they can put on their resume, but at the same time, it's a nice volunteer activity. So we hook people up with that, and that works out well. So we're not just saying, oh, here's a person who's good at English. Like, no, here's a person good at English who took the exact same class you did when you were in the same situation and they did well. So when you come in as a freshman, you're sort of, if that happens to you, contact Kaylin to figure it out. Now, by the way, Kaylin will explain to you when over orientation weekend, she'll meet you, she'll give a short little intro to herself and explain what she is, so you'll get to know her. Kaylin communicates with parents about student progress when necessary. So maybe here's something for all students and families to know. So we don't take any federal money. Hopefully you know that. It's a great thing. It means we don't have to do everything the federal government wants us to do. Yippee. So, but it also means we don't have the problem that other colleges have, which is parents are not allowed to know much about their students when they go to other schools because there's this federal law that says they can't. Well, here at Christendom, parents, these kids are still yours. You still belong to your parents. We're just here to help the parents along the way. And as a result, if a parent wants to call in and say, hey, do you know anything about how's my kid doing academically? How are they doing socially? How are they doing, who are they hanging out with? I mean, you can call and talk about anything. And if you reach the right person, they know the answer, we can tell you. So there's no sort of like secret thing that we're keeping your children from you and the students. You should know that too. Your parents can contact us and tell us what's going on. So you're not just hiding away for 4 years and you're playing hide and seek from your parents. Most of the time, the parents are involved in paying for the children to go here. They care very much about the success of their students. So we can contact the parents. Like I said, I contact parents of students who are suffering in their midterms. We can talk about it. If the parent wants to call and talk about other things, we can do that. If a student has discipline issues, we talk to the parents. So we bring the parents in when we have to. And if a parent wants to be brought in more, we can do that too. Kaylin also understands GPA requirements for various activities. Now, what does that mean? It means you need to have a certain GPA to keep your academic scholarship each year. You can lose your academic scholarship if you don't keep your GPA. I believe it's 3.0 is what you're supposed to keep it at. If you fall below a 2.0, you can't play sports. You can't do our semester in Rome program. There's things you can't do. You might not be able to act in the play if that's something you want to do, because our academics are important. And if you're not doing well academically, we don't want some extracurricular thing, which is not as important, to be your downfall. So we actually regulate that. If someone's below a 2.0, we contact the athletic director. The athletic director yanks the person from the team and says, sorry, you can't play until you get your GPA back up, which means a full semester of off the roster and starting going the next semester if the sport's still happening. There's also below, if a freshman comes in freshman year, first semester, if they get below a 1.0, a 0.999 or below, they fail out. And you might say, is that even possible? It happens. Every semester, first semester, fall semester, every semester that I've been here, at least 2 or 3 freshmen fail out. Was it sudden? Did they just bomb their finals? Did it all happen the last week of school and they were doing wonderfully and then they just, really just did horribly on their finals? No. They were doing poorly at midterms. They were missing classes. They were sleeping in all the time. They were goofing around. They weren't doing their homework. When we contacted them and said, hey, you need to come and see us in the academic support, they dodged their bullet. They dodged the emails, they dodged their phone calls, they dodged their texting. They didn't respond. Even I would go up to them at lunchtime. I'd say, hey, Joe, come on, buddy. Don't you want to stick around in Christendom? Don't you like Christendom? Yeah. I love Christendom. I want to stick around. Are you going to do anything about it? Oh, yeah. I'm going to go see Kaylin tomorrow. Never goes to see Kaylin. So these people that failed out, they failed out and they knew they were failing out. Everyone knew they were failing out. So it's not a surprise. So if you're actually a mild-mannered citizen and you want to do what you're doing and you're trying to be a good student and you're trying to study, you shouldn't worry about failing out. It's only if you have some other mission going on here at Christendom. So anyway, that's academic support. So we do very well. We don't, not that many students fail out, like I said, and the ones that do, I'm telling you, they really want to fail out. I don't know what their deal is. Okay, next, health services. Again, if you have any questions about academic stuff, maybe you can think of them while we're going on health services, so we can go back and answer those. Health services. So Dr. Graff, as I mentioned, she's in charge of student affairs. One of the things under student affairs, many of the next couple of slides are all under her because she's in charge of student affairs. So she oversees everything on campus: health services, chaplaincy, residential life, conduct, student activities, athletics, semester enrollment, mission trips, a lot of stuff. She's a very busy woman, oversees a lot of stuff on campus, a lot of very important stuff that's going to matter the most to students while they're here. She oversees the mental health counselors and on-campus nurses, manages housing accommodations for individual students. We actually have a number of mental health counselors on campus. I think we have 2 on campus. I think it's 2 full days of campus mental health counseling. You might wonder, well, what are all these people doing? There's a lot of pressures in life. There's a lot of people today. I mean, you don't need me telling you, young folks, the way it is. There's a lot of societal pressures, a lot of things people need. Maybe they just need a release to go and talk about things. Obviously, we have confession available if it's a moral issue, but if it's a sort of a mental stress issue, the counselors are here. It's actually free and confidential for students to go to it. If a student wants to use their insurance, we encourage them to. If they have insurance, we encourage them to use it. But if for some reason their insurance doesn't cover it, we will pay for it. So it's very important for our students to be of good mental health, being away from their families. We don't want them, suffering in that way. We have 2 on-campus part-time nurses. In the future, we may have, that may change. We may, up our game on that. But for right now, we meet our students' needs by having having these nurses here at scheduled times. And then in our own town, right down the road, about 2 miles down the road, we have a beautiful hospital. War Memorial Hospital is about 2 miles down the road. And then there's an urgent care center, which is over near the Walmart. I don't know if you've been to town here, but over by the Walmart section of town, there's an urgent care that people can go to. There's lots of doctors, dentists, chiropractors in the area, all within, town. Going into town takes like 7 minutes. If you don't have a car, other students have cars. The college does not drive you to any of these activities. I mean, if you're having a medical emergency, you needed 911, we call 911. The medicals, come and pick you up. If it's just you want to go for, you get strep throat, you need to go and check out to see if that's what you have. You can get a ride with a friend to go and to do that. If for some reason you just can't find your way into the medicals, then you go and talk to people in the student affairs office and find out the answer, and they'll figure out an answer of how to get you to your appointment. We have athletic trainers available. Those are, I think at every game that we play, there's a trainer there for both teams. If someone gets injured, someone's bleeding, someone breaks an arm, whatever it is, they're there for that. And then we also have special diets may be accommodated. Not everyone, but if you're gluten-free, maybe you're dairy intolerant, maybe you can't eat nuts, or you're allergic to different things. We probably have about 15 to 20 students that are on a special diet through our food services program. We don't have a separate kitchen, so there is a possibility of cross-contamination sometimes. So if you're really, really, really allergic to something, I'm not sure if we can always accommodate it. And so what happens is if you have one of these special diet needs, you communicate that to the operations department. Mr. Feckler, as I said, was in charge of the operations and the food service, and then there's people underneath him that we communicate to the chef and say, here's my problems, here's my things, here's my doctor's note that says that I have these problems and I have these needs. And then the chef will look at it and say, oh, no, we can meet those needs. Being on the food plan, we can help you out. But there's going to be sometimes it says, you know what, you're right. Based on what you're telling us are your issues, excuse me, we can't meet those. We can't do it. We don't want to risk your health, your safety. So you know what, you can't be on the meal plan. So as a result, you're going to have to be on your own meal plan. And we actually have some on campus across the street housing for men where they have kitchens in it. And if there's someone in that situation, they can live in one of those houses and cook their own food and take care of their own needs. If a girl has that, there's in the lower level basement of one of the girls' dormitories, there's a kitchen for people to use and a place to store your stuff, food. So we have accommodations available, but it has to be approved. You can't just say, well, I just don't like your food, so therefore I want to get off the meal plan. that doesn't work for us. Has to be a doctor approved note saying, here's the physical ailment with the student. Here's what we suggest they have as their diet. And then we will decide whether we can meet it or not. If we say we can meet it, we will work through meeting it, and we can have follow-ups to say, are we meeting it? Are you getting what you need? Are we meeting your goals? If the answer is yes, we continue on. If the answer is no, it's not really working out, we have another sit down and figure some things out. So it's all there for you. So if you have questions, if you know this right now, this would be a good time to talk to our kitchen about it. And if you want to know, well, who do I contact? How do I do it? There is a place on our website to figure it all out. But if you need help, just let me know. So social life support. What does that mean? Well, you spend about 20 hours a week in class, maybe 18 hours a week actually in class. So all the rest of the hours, however many hours there are in the week, you're outside of class doing stuff and you're being social with different people. And you could just have fun all the time, to be honest. And I mean, there's a lot of people here, there's a lot of fun stuff to do, but there's a lot of academics to do, and that's why you're here. And if you just so you need a little bit of help sometimes, kind of getting social and who are my people and who are my friends and which is my group and how do I talk to these people and is there anyone like me? So the student life people in there, Mr. Tim Cook is the dean of students. And his job, so Ms. Graff oversees the dean of students and student conduct, and then she also oversees the director of student activities and student activities in general. So student activities is what we do. They're the fun stuff we do on our campus. So the dances, the dorm wars we just recently had, they're the debates we put on, they're the competitions, the athletics, the intramurals, the trips to DC, whatever, the trivia contest, the open night pub nights, the coffee house, the St. Cecilia performances, the chamber orchestra, all the fun stuff that we do on weekends, normally on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday night, but sometimes we do it during the week as well. So we have those people to help you. It's like, what am I going to do when I go to college? Am I going to have a good time? We have clubs on campus. Some freshmen just started a martial arts club this year. How I think on Tuesdays they meet and they practice some things, and I don't know whether they fight each other. I'm not sure what goes on, but they started it and it's great. It's allowed to have. There's other clubs. There's writing clubs on campus. There's robotics type club on campus. If there's a club you want to start, you can start a club on campus. You work with the people in the student life office to make it happen. So other things, social life. So sometimes, as you know, Christendom is a great place, and hopefully that's why you're coming here. You've read all about it. You've studied us. You've visited. But there's also humans here, and humans sometimes don't always follow the rules. So we have rules and regulations governing student life. Things like you have to be in your room by curfew at midnight on certain nights, on weekdays, and 1 a.m. by the weekends. You have to wear dress code, professional dress code to classes and mass and lunch. Outside of that, you have to wear a modesty dress code. There's no drinking on the campus for anybody of age or underage, unless it's an officially sponsored event. There's rules about smoking on certain places on campus. There's rules about visitation. Guys can't go into girls' dorms. Girls can't go into guys' dorms. So there's all these policies, and to be honest, most of our students, most of the time, are trying to abide by the laws and be good citizens. But people choose to do the wrong, and so Mr. Cook is in charge of discipline and conduct issues to make sure he's sort of he's the guy carrying the big stick to make sure everything works out. And again, I'm in meetings every week where we talk about different problems on campus. There's very few problems on campus. There's humans on campus that do some bad things every once in a while, but there's no major problems on campus. And that's coming from a guy who's been here 23 years. It's a pretty good place. Almost no safety issues whatsoever ever go on this campus. There's just people doing stupid things sometimes, breaking the rules sometimes on purpose, sometimes, whatever, just because they're bored. But most of the time, students are abiding by the policies. Mrs. Plasberg, Pam, is in charge of the resident assistance and housing matters. So she actually oversees actual residential student living in the dorm. So when you want to go through and pick your housing, when you come in as a freshman, you're going to have a form to fill out and say, here's what I'd like to live with. Here's the type of person I want to live with. Here's the person I am. And they will arrange your housing and put you in a certain dormitory. For the next 3 years, you actually get to choose. There's a lineup, seniors get the first choice, then juniors, then sophomores, but you get to choose where you want to live, and hopefully you get your goal met. The resident assistants are students, are fellow students. Normally they're sophomores on up who are chosen out of the student body to be representatives of the student life office living in the dormitory. So every floor of each dormitory or each house has a resident assistant who is your connection to the administration. So you have any problems with anything, you go to your RA and you're like, hey, I got a problem with this. Something's wrong with my room. Something's wrong with me. I'm sick. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with my friend. My friend is, there seems to be failing in a class. Can we get him help? Whatever. Your RA is your helpline to your phone a friend to come back and talk to someone in the administration and to fix things and make things better for you. They're also there to make sure you don't get lost in the shuffle. They try to put on events for their floors and have floor activities. Sometimes they go off and go bowling together. Sometimes they go to a movie. Sometimes just go on a hike, or they have a talk about something. Sometimes they go to someone's house for dinner. So they try to build camaraderie amongst all the guys or girls on each of the various floors or wings of the floor that they're on. And then Miss Marilyn Charba, Miss Kayla Paradis, they are in charge. They're like the special events directors on campus. They put on all the fun things. They have the coolest job on campus. They get to work with a group of students called the Student Activities Council. Student Activities Council, you have to apply for. You have to kind of get picked to do it. But they work with those and the voted in class president. So there's a freshman class president, sophomore, junior, and senior class president that those people run for their position and get voted on by their class each year. So between the class presidents and then appointed persons, there's about 30 or 35 people on the Student Activities Council, and those 35 people, under the direction of Marilyn Charba and Kayla Paradis, put on all the fun activities that you see lots of pictures about or have experienced either during your visit to Christendom. So it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of activities, and we try to keep the students, to have the ability to have a good, happy, good old-fashioned Catholic fun. So you should, when you come to Christendom, we actually a lot to do. If you did everything that was offered all the time, you would fail out. There's too many things to go on. You need to sort of manage your time and say, what do I have time for? Obviously I need to study. I have to read books outside of class. I have to write papers. So you can't just do fun all the time, or you will fail out. All right, residential support. So again, there's Pam Plasberg. She's in charge of residence life. She manages the residence life. She also works with food service operations maintenance department. So if you're having issues living in the dormitories, or there's a crack in the wall, your blinds are broken, or the toilets are stopped up, or whatever, you can go to your RA, who will then go to the residence directors. So she manages 2 residence directors. So this is good for you to know as a student and as parents. We have 2 full-time adults they live on campus, they're staff, they're salaried, they're graduates of the college who are here all the time. They must get some time off. I don't know what it is. Maybe they have 1 day off, maybe they have a couple of mornings off. But basically, they're here, they're on call basically all night long. They're here to be the adults that if a resident assistant, one of the students that's in charge has an issue, they contact their female. Therese Cruz is in charge of the females, and then Sam Morales is in charge of the men. And so they're here all the time, and they report to Pam Plasberg. And again, they oversee the resident assistants as well, one on each floor or wing, and they're a fellow student. So we have a good contact. The students are never sort of left alone entirely in that sense. We also do have campus security, which we'll talk about in a second. So the students are here. We have groups of people in charge to make sure if there's any, they run fire drills. They make sure if there's any incidents that happen in the middle of the night, or someone gets sick and someone has to go to the hospital. We have people all in place for all of that to make sure nothing bad happens. And I'll be honest, again, we've been around 46 years. Nothing monumental has happened on campus that's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened on our campus. Nothing monumental that has happened. So it's pretty cool. People in charge of the food service and transportation, like you want a van run for spring break or fall break or Christmas break, or being picked up at the beginning of the year or end of year. Tom Heim runs the transportation department. We post when those things are done. If there's, again, any campus repairs, someone's door is broken, someone's air conditioning isn't working, we have a system for all of it. We want to help every student have the best experience they can have. And these are the people in charge of it. Food service, you're having issues with the foods. Like, why don't we have enough fresh fruit? Can we get some more fresh fruit? Let somebody know. They'll get you more fresh fruit. There's ideas. We love ideas. We love innovation. We just need some input sometimes from the persons experiencing it. Security, again, we have 2 security guards here 24/7, and there's a rotation of them. They're here all the time. They wander about campus. And so as a result, if you wanted to you fall asleep at night, read the logs, read the log books of our security officers. There's nothing going on this campus, but we could say, well, why do we have 2? We'd rather have the 2. We'd rather be safe than sorry, to be honest. So we're happy they're here. And then sexual misconduct. I mean, we had, there's always going to be a time when someone's going to do something wrong, or someone's going to be sexually active or do sexual misconduct. we've had people in the past say that something bad happened to them sexually, from a sexual assault point of view, or rape. Again, in our 46-year history, it's been a minimal amount, but again, even one is an important thing to deal with. And so we have a sexual misconduct person that's on campus who's our person that is something that happens to you, stalking, sexual harassment, someone's bothering you in an inappropriate way. Ms. Graff is the one to respond to it. We actually have talks at orientation a little bit about. We don't go into the graphic detail of anything, but we're just to let you know, if you're having any issues with any of this stuff, Ms. Graff is the one to talk to. You can report it. Some of the faculty and staff can report it too. Again, it's not an issue that it raises its head very often here at Christendom in 46 years, but we have it nonetheless, just in case, and it's good for people to know about. Spiritual life support. So, the only reason to exist in life is to get to heaven, and a college should assist a student helping become a saint, and we at Christendom abide by that rule and live by that rule. And so our beautiful little chapel that's brand new for us this year is just a wonderful hub of Jesus, right? Of spiritual grace. And it's just wonderful to have it there. And Father Pollard, I think this is his 5th year, maybe it's his 6th year, but he's a diocesan priest given to us by our Diocese of Arlington. And he's full time with us. He doesn't have any other assignments. He doesn't have a parish anywhere. He's just us. So we are his people. He's our pastor. And so he oversees again, this is all under student affairs, under Dr. Amanda Graff. She manages the chaplaincy. She manages the student formation programs. Those are we have talks. One's called At the Well, where it's a women's formation talk, where all the women get together, and so we bring in speakers to talk to them about different issues and topics that are of interest to them. We have something called Into the Deep, which is the men's formation group, where we bring in different men to come in. There's normally chicken wings involved somehow with that. Anyway, that's men. And then the manages strongholds. Strongholds are groups of they're self-created groups of men and or women. I mean, they're separated by sex, and they have different focuses. They're little accountability groups. Maybe they're here to keep each other together and say, look, hey, we're starting this stronghold and we're going to set up 3 goals. Our goals are, we're going to go to mass every day. We're going to pray the rosary every day. We're going to do the divine office every day. Okay, great. So they sort of, either they do it together, and maybe once a week they have a meeting and they say, hey, how did we do this week? How'd you do? Yeah, I didn't do so well. What can we do about it? Hey, let's pray about it. And then, it could be the men, it could be, maybe they're trying to be more pure, chaste, or maybe they're trying to, wake up earlier in the morning, or take cold showers, or do what they do, all kinds of things. And they're self-directed by the students, but we encourage students to join a stronghold. It's they don't have to live in the same dorm. They don't have to even, one can live off campus, one can live on campus. It's just people can join them. So those are new over the past number of years, and they kind of catch on. But whether they're successful or not is up to the students who are part of it. So Father Pollard, head chaplain, 6 years, lives on campus. He lives right across the street. He eats with the students. He dines with the students. He hangs out in the student coffee shop with the students at nighttime. Again, he's here with the students. This is the only job he has. This semester, we have a guy named Father Gabriel Flynn. He's on loan from Ireland, so he has a nice little Dublin Irish accent. And he's a diocesan priest from Ireland who's on leave for a semester. He's taking a sabbatical from his job, which he teaches at the University College in Dublin. And he's over here in America for the semester to do some research and write. I don't know if he's writing a book or some paragraph, an essay. He's here for some writing purpose. But he's fallen in love with Christendom. He's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go back to Ireland. I want to stay here. So I think he's trying to get, make arrangements to be able to stay here longer. But we go through different priests that come and go as our second priest, but we always have the one priest given to us by the diocese. And we always have 2 masses a day during the week, and even on Saturdays and Sundays. Normally it's a 7:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. on Monday through Saturday. On Sunday, there's an 8:30 a.m. and a 10 a.m. There's normally at least 2 hours of confession a day. Yes, 2 hours of confession a day on our tiny little campus with 550 students, 2 hours of confession a day. So when are they? So there's normally confession from 11 to 11:30 before the 11:30 Mass. And normally there's 2 priests here in confession during that time. Then at 11:30 Mass, one of those 2 priests goes and says Mass. But so then all during the next half hour, which is about how long a daily Mass takes, during a half hour, the other priest stays in the confession, hears confessions all during Mass. Then once that other priest comes out of the confession to help with communion distribution, at the end of Mass, one or both of the priests go back in the confessional for anyone who missed out during that daily Mass, and they will hang out in the confessional until there's nobody else to have confession heard. So that's that's at least an hour confession plus more, and that's then. And then every night we have a daily Eucharistic Holy Hour, which is from 6 to 7 p.m. And there's confessions heard during that Holy Hour as well. Then on top of that, there are, if you want to schedule a time to have your confession heard, you can do that. But there's nobody hurting to hear. It's amazing. People go to confession all the time. There's so many times to go to confession. You can go, weekly and stand in line for 15 minutes, and it's great. And it encourages you to go to confession way more often, because if you go to your local parish, they hear confessions from 3 to 3:05 every second Tuesday. And you're like, do I have to wait? How long? I have to wait in a line of like 50 people, and I'm never going to get in, and I have things to do. Here, it's actually very easy to confession. We're very thankful to have our priests who are so willing to hear confessions. It's awesome. We have First Friday all-night adoration, and we have something called Laudamus Te, which is a holy hour. And then following the holy hour, there's some sort of talk given by various people. Every First Friday is different, and there's all-night adoration after that. We have vocational discernment, all kinds of things. So spiritual life is very, very important to us. But students, it's all optional. You can just say, I never want to do anything, and that's on you. But most of the students coming here say, I want to increase and improve in my spiritual life. Career development support. So this is very near and dear to my heart because I'm in charge of it. So here I am. I manage the Director of Career and Professional Development Office, which I'll explain in a second. But I also oversee I teach the classes, most of the classes in our actual classroom participation, the career classes that is unique to Christendom. They're called Education for Lifetime classes, and they're required of all students to take. And they are career-related classrooms that I'll talk about in a second. So Mrs. Kristen Stevens, she started here in 2018. She's been here a while. She is the Director of Career and Professional Development. She's very nice. She works one-on-one with the students. She managed the career newsletter, our website, which if you haven't looked at our website, career.christendom.edu, I recommend you bookmark it, take a look at it, see what we offer, see what you're in store for, what you should expect. We have alumni mentorship program. We bring in alumni to talk about what they do. It's called Life on Tap. We have internship programs that we try to get students internships while they're here at students, and then over the summers. We bring in employer recruiting. Today, for example, we have the superintendent for Catholic schools for the Diocese of Arlington is here at our campus recruiting students for the diocese here. So we have employers all the time coming to visit to recruit from us. She organizes that. And then vocational discernment activities. If you're interested in being a priest or religious, we manage that department as well. So what is the classes they do? So there's two classes that the students do in class that are part of the core curriculum. The first one is called CCOL 101. CCOL 101 covers the course of freshman year and sophomore year. It's all one course, different classes. The classes are hour and 15-minute long classes, twice a semester. So you're talking about 2.5 hours of in-class experience each semester for the 4 years. For the first 2 years, it's CCOL 101. And you do freshman year, sophomore year. At the end, you get a grade for your whole thing, and it shows them your transcript after sophomore year as a grade for CCOL 101. And you learn things about the value of liberal arts education, think about your long and short-term career goals. You can read these things, how to act, dress, and communicate professionally, how to write a resume. Right now, I teach the class how to write a resume and cover letter. I'm going to have 139 resumes that's due tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm going to have 139 resumes and cover letters sent in to me by email that I'm going to have to spend lots of time reading over, correcting, editing, sending back to them. They learn how to do LinkedIn profile online. They learn important things that they need to know at this stage in their life. When they come back as juniors, they take another course called CCOL 301. Again, they take these individual little courses, an hour and 15 minutes each semester, twice a semester for each semester. And they learn all about basic financial literacy and credit scores and how to build credit and how to, writing the cover letter resume for a specific job and how to interview, how to negotiate salary, how to accept the job, how to reject the job, Microsoft Excel and PowerPoint. So things that are important. And I'm telling you, you may say, well, yeah, sure. Doesn't everyone learn this? No, they do not. You can ask any friends that go to other colleges. When you go to another college, all of this is optional. And when it's optional, I'm going to tell you, students, the mind might be willing, but the body's weak. They don't do optional, they do required. And so we made a part of the required curriculum, and it's done them very well. When they graduate, they're very confident what they need to do. They're able to find jobs, go to grad school, all the things they want to do. It's wonderful. But parents love it. Parents love it. So anyway, there it is. We manage that. So that's something not to worry about either. General support. So other things on campus to help our students succeed and to be, happy in their skin and happy with Christendom is there's office hours with faculty. It's posted on, it's sent to you by email saying, here's the office hours. It's on your syllabus that you get. You can go meet with them, talk about things. You misheard something in class. You want to figure out what they actually meant. You're having an issue. You just don't understand calculus anymore. You need some one-on-one instruction. You can go and talk to your faculty members. They come to your activities sometimes, your sports programs. They take part in activities. They cheer you on. They come into your basketball games. They come to your performance arts things that you do. They come to the debates. They spend time with students outside of class. It's not required of them. It's something they want to do, and not every faculty does. I'll be honest. Some faculty are a little more busy in their home life, but many of them do. They sometimes have meals at their homes or go on outings with them. They attend mass with them daily. Again, the 11:30 mass here every day. A lot of faculty and staff go to mass. Sunday mass, a lot of times faculty and staff show up to that, and then there's brunch afterwards. We talk about many non-academic matters. So it's not just let's talk about the classroom. You become friends outside of class. So that becomes a good support to know that you have these adults on campus that are not just here to care about your mind. They care about you as a person. They care about your soul. They care about you, that you succeed and do well. So we have so much support on campus. So what are the students? The ones that are currently here, every summer I run a student satisfaction survey for all the returning students and say, okay, what do you think? And we ask them a lot of things, but here's sort of the highlights for you that you to care about. So would you re-enroll? Would you re-enroll? You know, generally, yes, it went down a little bit, 91%. Basically, all classes. Would you re-enroll as a freshman? If you had the chance, would you come back and do it again? Above 90%, I mean, I don't know what you expect, but I think above 90% is pretty good. That's a good telling that, yeah, that they'd actually re-enroll. They're here experiencing, they'd say, I'd do it again. Would you recommend Christendom to others? Again, last year's class, they were out of control. You know, the average of all the people said 98%. This past year, 92%. Who knows? It goes up and down. The average for 3 years is pretty high, though, like 95%. Overall satisfaction, again, 97%, 96%, 95% the past 3 years. That's pretty good. When you say, are you satisfied? Are you most, we say it extremely, very, somewhat. If they're, really, if they're unsatisfied, they would let us know. And then we asked the freshmen last year. We started this last year. We'll ask it to you this year, or to the current freshmen this year. Okay, we told you all the stuff we're going to give you, and we told you how great Christendom was, and you're going to love it, and you're going to excel, and you're going to just be amazed. How was it? 90% said, that their expectations were met. I don't know how we should improve that. We'll look at this year and see if it got better or worse. We're just looking at it, but we do a lot of data. We do a lot of surveys trying to make sure we're on track with what we're trying to do. If there's ever a problem about anything, anyone needs a problem with anything, people are here to help. And if they can't find the answer, they come to me. So overarchingly, our freshmen, the freshman retention rate, when they come as a freshman, they come back as a sophomore. It's an 86% retention rate. The people that are leaving are not leaving necessarily because they're unhappy or what didn't work out for them. They're leaving because they failed out. They're leaving because they ran out of money. They're leaving because they're going to get married or find their vocation to the religious life. They're leaving for a lot of reasons. It's very rarely are they leaving because, oh my gosh, this place is not what I expected it to be. You guys are swindling us all and I'm getting out of here. That doesn't happen. So, the reason I'm in charge of this department, and everyone that leaves, I have a communication with them. Said, hey, why'd you leave? Sorry you're leaving. Do you want to come back? What's the story? Many of the people that leave, they eventually do come back. They take some time off, go find some more money, come back and start again. Well, they don't start again. They just come back and continue on. Then we have the graduation rate. So, it's called a 6-year graduation rate. I don't know why they gauge it by 6 years, why it shouldn't be 4 year, but about 70% of our students who started in the fall of 2017, 6 years later had graduated. That's a national, it's a trend that's gauged nationally, and we're above the national trend for that. Could we be higher? Probably, but again, why aren't they graduating? And why are people leaving? They're leaving for all kinds of personal reasons, and it's not because they're unsatisfied. If they were, I would just tell you right now, I'd admit it. It's because of various and sundry personal issues, failing out, just running out of money, something happened in death in the family and they can't come. There's all kinds of reasons. But the bottom line is, if someone comes here and they say, I want to go to Christendom, I want to graduate in 4 years, I have the money, I have the smarts, I'm not going to fail out, then about 99% of those people will graduate in 4 years. So don't worry about that if that's something that worries you. So here I am, questions. This number, 540-660-5262, is my cell phone number. I give it out in every email I send out. Every student has it. Every parent has it. Bookmark it. Save it to your contacts. Put down McFadden and the answer to your questions, whatever. And you can text me. You can email me, you can call me, and I answer my phone between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. If I'm not in a meeting, I will answer it. If I'm in a meeting and you send me a text or an email, I'll generally answer it during the meeting. So if you want to reach me, the best email or texting is a really good way to reach me. And I'm here to answer your questions, and I want you to be happy. And so this hopefully answered some of your questions about some of the things that are available for you. When you come into Christendom, it's a big, brand new world, and leaving your family behind and like, oh my gosh, how's it all going to work out? But we have you, and we're taking care of you. Yes, you have to be mature enough. You should, there's going to be some bumps along the way, just growing pains, but we have so much support here to help our students succeed. So does anyone have any questions? Anyone that, I don't see anybody up there right now. Give it a second, see if anyone wants to be bold and put something in the chat box. Nothing to worry about. We're here for you. That's all I can tell you about it. And I've been doing this for 23 years. I've been in charge of student support for since 2014, and we do things pretty well because of our size, because of our focus on customer service and attention. Hopefully, you've felt that through the admissions office process. We very pride ourselves on the personal attention. You're going to have that when you come to Christendom. I guarantee that. So I guess that's all we have. No questions. So let's say glory be and complete this. Oh, someone has something. Let's see. Someone asked about are the student tutors paid? The answer is no. They are. Student tutors, yes, they are paid. The student tutors are paid. Again, getting tutoring, you don't have to pay anything for it, but the people who are chosen to be student tutors are paid. So hopefully that answers that. And if you show up and you're really good at one of the languages, you can go to one of the teachers and say, hey, I'd love to be a student tutor. One of my daughters was a Latin tutor for a while. You can say I'm good, but the teachers normally know who's good at something. So they will kind of reach out to you and say, hey, you're really good at this language. You're really good at math. Would you be interested in being a tutor? And we need a bunch of them because there's different times throughout the week as well. So there we are. So let's end with the glory be, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Thank you very much. Contact me anytime if I can help you. Otherwise, God bless, and we'll see you here back in the fall. Thank you very much.